Hey everyone, this is Sonam, and this is my second video in my What I've Noticed About Your Sun Sign slash my sun sign video series. So originally I was going to go in order and do Taurus second, but I actually had a lot of requests for Scorpio. So yeah, this video is going to be Scorpio. That shouldn't be surprising though that I had a lot of requests for Scorpio, because Scorpio is a very introspective sign, and they're also very into sort of like mystical, spiritual things, and also anything that has to do with like just the depth of people. So yeah, one of the things I want to get into that I think you really need to understand, to completely understand Scorpio, is the developmental stages of the zodiac signs. So the first sign of the zodiac is Aries, and that is technically the youngest sign of the zodiac, so it's like the child of the zodiac, and then we move on to Taurus and then Gemini. So as you progress through the signs in that order, the signs are actually maturing and developing spiritually and getting wiser. So also we have the 12 signs of the zodiac, and those are divided into 3 developmental stages, and each stage has 4 signs. So within each stage we go fire, earth, air, water, and then fire, earth, air, water, and then again fire, earth, air, water. Now, within the zodiac signs, there are 2 significant developmental stages. So the first significant developmental stage or sign is in Leo. And so before Leo, it's said that you're in ignorance, and then once you're in Leo, that's when you're getting to know yourself and you're forming your own identity. And then so that happens in Leo, and then that continues to happen in the signs following Leo, and then the next significant developmental stage is in Scorpio, and that is when you go from the self, the individual, to the collective. And so you're going from your individual identity to really growing in a spiritual sense and connecting to others. And that's why Scorpio is such part of why Scorpio is such a misunderstood sign, is because there's sort of this destruction of the self and the ego, and this formation of this whole new like set of ideals almost. So yeah, and you can't have growth without destruction. You can't have darkness without light, and that's why there's just so much crap going on in Scorpios, because all of that happens there. And yeah, that's why it has such a bad rap, but honestly, to me, I think it is one of the most beautiful signs because of that. So that being said, Scorpio is all about regeneration and rebirth and growth. And so yes, Scorpio does often get associated with sex, but it goes way deeper than that. It's about rejuvenation and rebirth on all sorts of different levels. It can be a very spiritual energy, just like any water sign. But yeah, and just like any other sign, Scorpio has its lower order and it has its higher order. So a lot of that conflict is what you see in the lower order of the sign. So you see a ton of ego, a ton of defense mechanisms, a ton of fear, and a ton of, like a fear of scarcity. So, a lot of times you will see like lower order Scorpios, sort of, like they'll get a rep for thriving off of other people's resources, taking from other people, and just hoarding, and that comes from a place of fear. And yeah, but once you get to that higher order, it's not like that. Scorpios can be so generous. They can be so spiritual. Some of the greatest spiritual leaders have been Scorpios or had, strong Scorpio in their personality. So for any of you who know Guru Nanak Dev Ji, he is the founder of Sikhism. He was a Scorpio sun. There's also a theory, and a lot of people have kind of questioned this, of course. The Buddha have sort of questioned how, his actual birth time and whatnot can be so accurately calculated, but based on the story of his birth, what was said about the moon at the time, and just the calendar astrologically, there's a theory that he was a Scorpio moon. I also know a lot of people that have got strong Scorpio influence in their personality, so in their 3 significant personality signs or somewhere significant in their chart, that are very spiritual, have a very strong spiritual presence, or just very into spiritual development. So yeah, that being said, I think Scorpio is a very, very misunderstood sign. And yeah, I just think it's so human because you really see the darkness and the light. So, I guess to add on to that, Scorpio, like any other water sign, is into art. Almost every Scorpio I know, they have some form, at least one form of art that they use to express themselves. I have seen a lot of Scorpio females that are makeup artists. What else? My handy dandy list. Okay, so yeah, like I said, Scorpios are very introspective, and once you understand yourself, or once you are making a very conscious effort to understand yourself, it becomes almost second nature to sort of understand other people. And Scorpios have this bad reputation for being very manipulative, and they can be, because they are so good at understanding people. So yeah, it can be a bad thing, but it can also be a huge strength. You'll see a lot of Scorpios that are interested in psychology. You'll see a lot of Scorpios wanting to be counselors of some sort, and that also relates to the fact that Scorpios are healers, because it is the sign of regeneration. So yeah, they can be emotional healers. They can also be spiritual healers. They can also be physical healers. So even you will see a lot of them going into nursing, for example, or going into counseling. Even if they're not doing that professionally, they are going to end up playing those roles in their professional lives. So they will become the family masseuse, or they will be the person that's always listening to everyone's problems. Okay. Even Scorpios in their lower order will gravitate towards those things. Okay, so one thing I wanted to point out that I've really, really, really noticed a huge pattern in, with my, personal encounters with Scorpio males, is that they're so nice. They really know how to make people feel comfortable, and they really know how to connect with people, and they're really good at sort of just knowing what they need to put out there so that, you know, people will be able to connect with them effectively. Sorry, I have a bit of a cold. So yeah, just I guess to relate to that, they're very good at making people feel like family. This is Scorpio females and males. So I've noticed time and time again, Scorpios, like I have seen them leave important family events to go to something that's important to their friends. So they really do tend to put their friends and family on the same level, or even put their friends before their family, which I think is a very beautiful thing. I think it means that if Scorpio is giving you their time and energy and attention, it means that they really value you, and they're not just gonna give you that because they're supposed to, or because, you know, they've been told that's what they owe you. No, they really choose the people that they want in their life, and if they choose you, it means that they do really care about you and value you. So yeah, they're gonna be the ones that are gonna say call their family friends actually their family, or make people feel accepted and welcome in a family setting. I'm just gonna make sure I covered everything. Okay, yeah. So Scorpios, they're very like free thinkers, and they're very open-minded. So even though they have like these crazy walls, and sometimes it seems like they just don't want to listen, in their head, like they have quite open minds, and they are a fixed sign, but I find that they're all about freedom. So if you're talking to them about something that's kind of weird or far-fetched or different, they're probably still going to be receptive of it, and they're going to be open to it. And they're very open to living an unconventional life, I've noticed. They're usually not ones to judge. Even if they are like judgmental, they claim to be people that aren't judgmental. So yeah, and sort of to go along with like the free thinkers, freedom is something that's very important to them. So they're not going to be the child or teenager that their parents are able to cage in. They really need to follow their own path in life. If someone tries to restrict them, they will rebel. Yeah, at the end of the day, you know, they're gonna do what they want. It might even get to a point where they hide certain parts of their lives from certain people, and that really is to just preserve what they have. They do not want to be told how to live their lives, and they're not gonna stand for any sort of restraints in that department. So yeah, I guess moving on to the physical, not just Scorpio suns, but any females that have, my God, my voice, that have strong Scorpio in their personality and any of their significant signs, they're, I guess, okay, I'll get into this a little bit before. So me, for example, I have a Taurus sun, but I have a Scorpio rising, and I find that physically I'm so much more of a Scorpio than a Taurus. So that will happen, especially when we're talking about physical characteristics. I find that you know, different signs will shadow each other just depending on the strengths of those energies. So yeah, if you're a female with a strong Scorpio influence, physically you're probably going to be tiny. Even if you're not like short, even if you're tall, there's still probably going to be small boned, small faces, small features, small hands and feet. Again, like not always, because like I said, like these different energies are gonna, you know, balance each other out and whatever. But yeah, another thing I've noticed with Scorpionic females is, not even just notice, this is a thing that a lot of people notice, is like prominent jaws slash chins that sort of come out. And then also Scorpios are very, very notorious for their eyes. So a lot of people say that they have like mysterious eyes, or deep eyes, or intriguing eyes. To me, I just feel like Scorpios have very noticeable and significant eyes, and like I have known girls that there's nothing about their eyes that I can pinpoint that's prettier than the next girl, but for some reason they just have beautiful eyes that stand out and that I notice, and I just can't explain why, but they just have very noticeable, beautiful eyes. What else? Scorpio guys tend to be short, on the shorter side. Scorpio females, they love to dress in like dark colors. They might gravitate towards like the gothic look. They're probably gonna tend to go for like the mysterious look a lot. This might just be something that they give off without even trying, but definitely like the dark and the mysterious is like the sultry, like those are looks that they're gonna go for. So yeah, I think that's all I've got for Scorpio right now. But I do also want to add on that during this video I did talk a lot about like the different signs that make up your personality. I mentioned your rising sign, might have mentioned moon sign. So I will be making some more videos on that later on. But there are a lot of great YouTube personalities that have a lot of videos out on that kind of stuff, which I will link below. But yeah, you can always also just Google it as well. But basically, like, you have your sun sign, and then you have pretty much like 2 other signs that significantly make up your personality. So in total there's 3, including your sun sign. So if you are curious, I really encourage you to look up your moon sign and what a moon sign represents, and then I also encourage you to look up your rising sign. And a synonym for your rising sign is your ascendant. So yeah, please go ahead and look into those if you're interested at all. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. Please comment below, let me know what you thought. But yeah, you know, like, going back to what I was just talking about, like the different parts of your personality astrologically, a lot of the time I will have people say, like, I'm an Aries sun, you just described an Aries sun, that's nothing like me. That's because you have all these different influences in your personality, and they're gonna play out in different ways, and they're gonna affect your life and your personality in different ways. So a lot of the time, yes, when you just look at your sun sign, it can be very generic and you might not relate to it very much at all. But you know, when you really get down to the nitty-gritty, things are a lot more personalized, and it makes so much more sense. So yeah, if you're really having a tough time accepting, you know, like your astrological personality just according to your sun sign, I really recommend you look more into the stuff that I mentioned a little bit earlier. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Comment below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.